Hello, a very warm welcome to Happy Hands Knitting Podcast. My name is Nadine and I'm coming to you from a bit of a rainy day here in northern New South Wales, Australia. And I'm originally from Montreal, Canada. Today I'm going to be talking to you about what to do if you've made something, knit or crochet or sewn or whatever, and you just find that you're not wearing it because something's not quite right. So just trying to figure out a way to fix it so that it can be worn, because you spent so much time and love going into making it that it's just such a shame to have it set aside. So I've got such an example today that I want to share with you. I'm also going to be sharing about two of my whips. One is a sweater with a round yoke, and I have a bit of a question to pose about that. The second is a pair of vanilla socks. And oh yes, and also a bit of dream knitting. I forgot to mention last time that I had purchased some spin cycle yarn on Facebook Marketplace, and I finally received it. So I've got a bit of a plan for that. So I'm really excited because I've never used spin cycle. I've never really held it before. So I'm very excited about that. And lastly, in the outro, I'm just gonna give you, or rather show you a tour of Stash Lounge in Calgary. So we just visited there. If you don't watch my channel, we just visited my mom in Calgary a couple weeks ago, and I got to go to Stash Lounge. So I took a nice video of that. So if you're curious to know what it looks like, I'm gonna have that at the end. Okay, so just to start with what I'm wearing, I'm just wearing a linen dress. I did not make this. It is very similar to a hinterland dress with some nice deep pockets. Just in black linen, and I'm just wearing it with the ranunculus, which I also knit in 100% linen, so I'm the linen lady today. And yeah, I only have the original pattern, so this was when it was one size, and I guess this linen was quite, I'd say maybe a sport weight, and I just knit it with those big needles, so it's very loosey-goosey, very flowy, and I really like wearing it over a black dress, even though I know you can't really see the details too much, but I know they're there. Okay, so let's see. I'll start with what I was talking to you about at the beginning of the video. So I was very inspired by Casey from Young Folk Knits, who had knit the Soho, I wrote it down, hang on. The Soho top by Calgary, and she knit it in the exact yarn that I bought, which is Sadness Garn Tin Lina and held double. And so I really loved it, but if you watched my channel before, you know that I love a challenge and I love to try to figure out how things are made. So I didn't actually buy the pattern. I tried to copycat it, and here's how it came out. So I did a few things differently from what I can see in her pattern, but yeah, because it's a pay pattern and I pretty much just copied it, I'm not gonna share with you how I made it, but just know that I knit this one flat. I didn't really do an I-cord around the neck, and I seamed it together. Now, I really like this. The color is maybe not my best color, but I do still like it, but I don't wear it. And I think the reason I don't wear it is it's just too short. So I'll just stand up. It's, you know, and this isn't really the kind of thing that you would wear over a dress, I don't think, you know, because it's very narrow at the top here. So even with high-waisted pants or like a high-waisted skirt, I just find myself not wearing it, and I know it's because it's too short. So I have this much left of the yarn, and I think the solution I've come up with is, now I mentioned that I'd knit this flat and that I'd seamed it at the end, but I still think that I can undo the bottom row. I knit it top down, so I'm pretty confident that I can pick up the stitches along the bottom, like let's say the front, and then undo it. And then my plan is to try for as much as I can with what I have left, just knit back and forth again and garter until I have, you know, as much as I can with half of this yarn. I guess a scale is going to be very key to this process. So I'm gonna weigh my little ball and try to knit until I have half left, just in garter. And then I'm gonna do the same on the back. I'm gonna pick up the stitches and then undo it, and then same again, knit as far as I can. And then I don't think I'm actually going to seam it. I think I'm gonna leave it like a split hem. So it'll be longer, which is what I'm hoping for, and have a bit of a different look because it'll have the split hem at the bottom. And then I think I will wear this because I love the fabric. It's very nice. It's not super light. It's actually quite heavy considering, although that's true of cotton. I think this is a mixture of cotton and linen, maybe viscose or something, and cotton, and even like a viscose can be quite heavy, but it is cooling. Like, it's not a warm fabric, so I think it's going to be perfect for these hot days. So just if you have something in your wardrobe that you've made or not, if you think you can still somehow mend it, I would highly suggest trying to figure out what it is you don't like about the thing that you've made and trying to see if you can fix it, because what a shame to have this just sitting in my cupboard. You know, I spend a lot of time and not to mention money on the yarn, and I think we should wear the things that we make if we can. Okay, speaking of things we make, I'm just drinking a bit of turmeric tea. The brand is Higher Living. It's an Australian brand, I think, and it's very nice. And look, mind my lipstick stand, but look how beautiful this mug is. This mug was made by a local potter here. It's just beautiful. It's got this gorgeous sunshine on it. Okay, so I spoke last week about how I was making the Festive Yoke sweater. Don't mind the yarn vomit there because I pulled it up from the middle. So I've actually made quite a lot of progress on it. So it is the Festive Yoke sweater, Festive Yoke Pullover by Skeindeer Knits, and it's just a lovely, lovely pattern. There's lots and lots of options. You can make the whole thing in color work, and she gives you, like, here's 3 different charts. She gives you so many charts to choose from, and like I said last week, I just loved how hers started, so I just decided to keep the charts that she used, and then I just wanted to do the color work in the yoke. Like I said last week, this is the part that you really want to keep the warmest when it's cold, and so because of the color work, everything is doubled up here. And then where I live, it's not super cold in the winter, so the rest of it can just be in stockinette. And I did add a repeat of the star motif here, or a snowflake. I'm not sure what that's meant to be. And I made it a little bit shorter. So I finished one sleeve. And again, I added that snowflake or star pattern before I cast off. I think I actually misread the pattern for my size, and I decreased a little bit slower, like 1 stitch slower than the pattern suggested, but that's fine. I've tried it on and it fits really good. I spoke last week about how I am a very loosey-goosey colorwork knitter, and the reason is because I like for it to maintain its stretch. So as I'm knitting my colorwork, I tug the tail of the color that I'm pulling across after I knit it, just to make sure that I maintain that stretch, because the first colorwork sweater that I knit, I did it very tight and it has 0 stretch there and it looks very funny. So the only thing is, I guess to compensate for the fact that I knit the colorwork so loose, I try to be extra loose when I knit the plain stockinette. In fact, my stitches look terrible because I was trying to do it loose, and so the tension was just kind of all over the place. So I don't know, you probably can't see, but they're very, wobbly and which is fine. Hopefully that'll block out. But the thing that I'm a bit worried about is when I've tried it on, it's quite gapey right under the color work. So I'm not sure if that's to do, sorry if you can hear some dance music. I think one of our neighbors is playing dance music. So hopefully you can hear it. But anyways, so I don't know if that gapiness is because I went a little bit overboard and made it too loose, or if it's because when you think of the round yoke increases, everything is going like this, like it's spreading out like that. And then from there, from like that bottom of the round, you're knitting straight down. And so then I was thinking, is it because it's going from this to that there's a little bit of extra fabric that's making it look gapey? I don't know if that makes any sense, but so I'm gonna see if it comes out all right in the wash when I block it, but if it doesn't, I'm not too worried about it because I love this so much. I will attempt to do sweater surgery in that I will pick up the stitches right before the color work here and then undo it and then re-knit this and then seam it together with a, what's it called? Something stitch. Not Kissinger. What am I thinking of? Kitchener stitch, with Kitchener stitch. Wow, that took a while to come to me. Okay, so yeah. And then, oh yeah, so when I did the sleeve, I was cognizant of this gapiness here, that I decided to knit this with my normal tension, but I went up a needle size by 0.5 mils so that it would match the gauge of my color work. And I measured it after a few rows and it's exactly on point. And then yeah, I measured this and this is like, you know, 2 or 3 stitches less per 10 centimeters. So yeah, there's a huge difference there. So hopefully it'll all come out in the wash, as they say, and all the tension will sort itself out. And again, if not, that's fine. I'm happy to redo it because I just love it so much. This color is so beautiful. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is, oh, my dog's dreaming. This is Berroco Lanas Light. So it's a sport weight yarn that I bought at Stash Lounge, which I will show a video at the end. And the color is raspberry and it's so beautiful. This beautiful like garnet red with like a hint of blue in it. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. Okay, my other whip, I just started this the other day. So I wanted to get going on a few socks because I bought a lot of sock yarn recently. And I've been knitting socks for other people and I haven't knit myself a pair of socks in a long time. And all of my socks, all of them? I think all of my socks are getting holes or getting worn through. And I'm happy to mend socks. I have mended socks in the past. The socks that I'm referring to actually have been mended, but they're just wearing away. And yeah, so I try to do little patches. So I've done like a knitted patch and I've done a woven patch, but just what I'm patching it onto is it just gets really worn thin. And so yeah, I guess the mending doesn't really last that long, but I try to keep mending them. But I would like to have more socks so that each pair doesn't get as worn, I guess. All right, so I showed last week in my video that I bought in Canada, Patons Kroy. So I was very excited to find this at Michael's, and I bought 2 balls of it, and I decided for the heel and toe I was going to use Retrosaria Rosa Modim. I bought this also at Stash Lounge 2 years ago, last time we went to Canada, and I think the colors look really nice together. So I wanted to, I think if you watch previous video of mine, I talked about how I've been trying to use shorties. So I bought a pair of shorties in Rwanda at Knit Happens, and it wasn't really my favorite knitting experience. So I decided I was gonna try bamboo sock needles, because normally I use metal. I was gonna try the bamboo ones. So I ordered some 2.75 from, I think it was called Yarn Trader, here in Australia, and they came and I accidentally bought another pair of shorties. So I got the bamboo shorties from Chowgu accidentally, but I thought, all right, let's just, just do it and maybe you'll get used to it and find a way. So I cast on the toe with the Modim, and what I did actually is I used 2 shorties, and that wasn't so bad for my hands. And then when I got to, you know, my 64 stitches, this is just a vanilla sock. I don't really use a pattern for socks anymore unless I want to do something fancy. It's just, you know, 64 stitches. I started here, obviously, with I think 12, worked my way up with kind of a round toe. And then when I got to 64, I started with just the bamboo ones. And after a couple of stripes, when I got to here, I kind of remembered that I really wanted to try Continental Knitting. I am an English style knitter. I wrap the yarn around my finger and I do one of these guys. My whole hand moves. I don't flick or anything. I insert into the stitch and my whole hand goes around. So that's how I normally knit, and I'm quite fast at it. Like, sometimes it's funny, I feel like you can't even see my hand moving, it's going so fast. But just for fun, I wanted to try, like, maybe a bit of an extra challenge. I wanted to try to learn Continental Knitting. So I thought this is a perfect opportunity to try that because it's all knits. I didn't want to try to learn purling as well. I thought maybe just one new technique so that, you know, the tension wouldn't be crazy. And yeah, so all this whole section I did with Continental, and it was really interesting to try to figure out the best way to hold the yarn. And for me, so I'm a crocheter. Honestly, I should have learned to knit this way from the beginning because I am a crocheter. So at first I started with, you know, how I hold my yarn for crochet, but that didn't quite do it for me. So then I ended up just giving an extra wrap around my finger, and that just kind of held the yarn a little bit higher and held the tension a little bit tighter so that, because at first my tension was quite loose. So yeah, that's what worked for me, and yeah, I loved it. It was pretty fun, I must say, though I haven't really done the purling yet, so I can't really commit to knitting Continental. So when I did the heel, which I did not fishless kiss, the shadow wrap heel, I just went back to doing English style knitting for the heel. And now I'm back to knitting in the round, so I'm going to go back to trying Continental. So this Patons Kroy sock yarn, you know, when you buy a self-striping yarn and you're looking at it, it's really hard to see exactly what it's going to look like. And I wasn't hoping it would be like this. I was hoping it would be more, you know, burgundy, black, you know, hot pink, purple, you know, even stripes of all the colors, but instead it's one of these guys that stripes 2 colors together and then stripes another 2 colors, and yeah, and then the 3rd color. So it's not bad. It's still kind of cool, but I think if it was just even stripes, I would have liked it better. But that's okay. I still like it. And oh yeah, the other thing I was going to say about it is, I guess self-striping yarn, depending on your tension, could look a little bit different. So you see here, I have some overlapping of the black. So this is 64 stitches. Had it have been a sock with more stitches, like 68 or 72, then that probably wouldn't have happened. But because I feel it's the most noticeable with this color right here, I decided to make sure that that would be under my foot, so I didn't have to look at it when I looked at my foot. But that's just me being fussy. The other thing is, I recently switched to 2.75 needles for my socks. And the reason is, the last pair of socks I did with Modim was an Andrea Mowry pattern. I can't remember what it's called, but it's from the 52 Weeks of Socks book, her pattern from that book. I knit with Retrosaria Rosa from Modim. And I found that my tension was way too tight with a 2.5, my usual, so I went up to the 2.75. However, with this Patons Kroy yarn, my dog wants to go outside. Hang on. Sorry, with the Patons Kroy, the 2.75 is quite big. So yeah, to compensate, I think I made this bit a bit shorter, thinking that it'll stretch more like that. But we'll see. We'll see when the socks finish how it fits. I'm hoping it's gonna be all good. I'm not too worried, but I'm a little worried that this has no nylon and is non-superwash. And this I thought was also non-superwash, but with nylon. But I just read the inside of the label and it says to wash max 30 degrees Celsius. So I feel like it is superwash, unfortunately. But hopefully they're gonna work out together okay. I accidentally washed, or I should say my husband accidentally washed his socks that I made in Modim, and they might have shrunk a little bit, but they're fine. So in the end, if these accidentally get thrown into the wash, I think it's not gonna be a disaster. My dog is back home. He's knocking at the door. Okay. The yappy dogs across the street are now barking. Okay, so I forgot to, I don't think I've shown this before. So a couple of episodes ago, before we went to Canada, I had mentioned that I had ordered some spin cycle yarn from Facebook Marketplace. And I've never seen or held spin cycle yarn. Obviously, I've seen it so much on knitting podcasts and Instagram. So the lady was selling 4 skeins for about $60. So I jumped at the chance because I think here each skein in Australia would come to about $50 something. So I feel like I got it about half price. And she even had free shipping, so it was perfect. So the 2 colors that I've got another one of these. This one is called Melancholia, and it's very, very pretty, very, jewel toned, like teals, and basically just all tones of teal. Anyways, the 2 skeins look very similar, which apparently is not guaranteed with spin cycle. And I'd say they don't really look to me like they're very color changing, like dramatically from, a couple of rows of one color that goes into another color. It looks to me, but then again, I'm just looking at the skein, it looks pretty evenly distributed, the color. I don't know if you can really see. And the other color is called something masala. I can't remember exactly. Not muddy masala? I'll put on the screen. I can't really think of what it's called. But this one, so she had caked them. I don't have a yarn winder. I normally ball all my yarn, or everything I have is in these cakes, but normally I'm a hand ball winder. But she, I guess, had already wound these for another project and they were her leftovers. So I think this is a full ball, and this one obviously she's used. And I'll just show the colors. Yeah, and so again, like I said, I'm not too familiar with spin cycle. So she had only 2 of each color, this one a little bit under. So I wasn't really sure what I would be able to make. However, I recently saw the Alpine Bloom by Caitlin Hunter, Boyla Knits, and that pattern only uses just over 1 skein, so that's gonna be perfect. So it is a knitted t-shirt, and I'm not super keen on having a t-shirt. I think I've mentioned it before. Here in Australia, to wear a t-shirt made of wool is not very practical. So I remembered that I had some Holst Coast left over, and that is half wool and half cotton. It's not quite half, it's 55% wool and 45% cotton. So I think this is just gonna be perfect for this weather. So it'll, I know wool is breathable all year round, but that amount of cotton in here is just gonna be, I think, just a bit nicer to wear. And then I think it's gonna look really cool, this dark navy with these colors, the color change going through from like orange and brown and you know, light green and blue, but like a lighter blue. I think it's going to be so pretty. So I'm very, very excited to start that project. However, I just bought 2 patterns recently, so I'm going to have to hold off a little bit on purchasing that next pattern. So yeah, very excited. I don't have plans for this one yet. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't look as color changing, though maybe when I wrap it into a ball, I'll see that it does. But yeah, so I don't know. Do you have any suggestions for 2 skeins of Spin Cycle? Oh, hang on, because I know they have different names, don't they? Where it's written, dyed in the wool. So dyed in the wool, and it is, I think, a sport weight. I'm not sure, I might have to hold that whole code double. I did look at the Ravelry projects, and a few people have used the Coast, so I'll just yeah, check out theirs and see if they've held it double, and that's what I shall do as well. Okay, let me check if I have talked about everything that I wanted to talk about. Yes. I think that's it. Okay, well, the outro, if you stay tuned, I'm going to give you that tour of Stash Lounge in Calgary. It was an amazing yarn store. Yeah, I wish that more people in my neighborhood knitted, and there could be such a store where I live, because yeah, it would be amazing if I could just, you know, well, I can't really walk to anywhere. I live in a small town, but if I had like a 5-minute drive and I could, yeah, be in a wonderful store like that, that would be fantastic. But alas, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you get to make something beautiful with your hands. I really look forward to sharing with you next week my progress on the things that I'm making. And thank you so much for subscribing, liking my video, or dropping me a comment. It really means a lot to me. And yeah, thanks again. See you next time.